the conflicts in the classroom between Miss Martin and Miss Vega. Can I call you by your first names, or do you want me to call you by your last names?
You can call me Bonnie.
You can call me Heather.
Heather and Bonnie, great. So first what we're going to do is we're going to go over the mediation, or what happens in a mediation, and I'm considered the arbitrator or the mediator, which I don't have any judgment, and I cannot give you any advice. I'm only here to make sure that y'all are civil to each other, and that's another thing, we have to be civil to each other, and respectful words, and no ugliness, nice words, and hands to ourselves, okay? Okay, so this is Miss Panda, and this is Miss Martin, and I'm Miss Lancaster. I'm going to be the arbitrator. And I want to thank y'all. I heard y'all both come from very different schools, and I want to thank you for your hard work. I've talked to both of y'all's bosses, and they said that y'all are very organized, and as y'all can tell, I've been suffering from the flu, and that both of y'all's classrooms are very clean, so I appreciate that. Also, I wanted to explain the process and the definition of a mediator, which the mediation process. It's an informal and flexible discussion to find a resolution to the problem that we're having, or y'all are having. My role is to help both sides understand the issues clearly and each other's position, and to move closer to a resolution, either to a resolution or to a compromise, okay? The ground rules, like I said before, are nice words, hands to ourselves, and to show each other respect. This is a voluntary, professional mediation, okay? There are confidentiality provisions, so what happens in this classroom stays in the classroom. Neither one of y'all are going to go out and talk to your coworkers about this. It stays in here. And if there needs to be another mediation, we can plan a time for another meeting. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay. And there's also a possibility of a caucus, which means each of y'all will get a chance at the talking stick to state your concerns and issues. And the caucus possibilities, I'll ask each of y'all to leave, and I can discuss your issues, confidentiality with each of y'all. And then we come back together to find a resolution to that. And at the end, we're going to sign an agreement at the end to show that we all agree to the compromise resolution that we have. So each of us will sign, including me, because I'm the mediator. And at the very end, if there's any questions or concerns that need to be addressed, we'll do that. Everything understood?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Do we sign it now?
No, we'll sign it at the very end.
Okay.
That's the protocol of the mediation process according to the guidelines in the book.
Awesome.
So who would like to go first?
I would like
Yes,
to.
Miss. Yes, Heather, thank you. This is the talking stick, so you can hold it there, you place it by you. And this is to show the other people that you're the ones going to be talking and we're working through this. So feel free to say whatever you want to say.
Okay. First I want to talk and say that I used to be a physical education instructional assistant at my other campus, and now I am at this new campus and I'm a special education instructional assistant. And I'm feeling a little bit frustrated because I feel most of the work is put on my shoulders and put on me rather than the other instructional assistants that are in the room with me. I feel like most of the responsibility is more on me, and that if I don't do it correctly, that I'm the one that gets in trouble and would get written up.
Okay.
And
Can you be more specific on your job duties when you say that? Like, is it toileting? Is it the behaviors? Or is it just the basics, keeping the kids on task with their schedules?
it's basically like keeping the kids on task with their schedules, and like sometimes going to like specials like PE and to music and art and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I also feel kind of like I'm left out because I never get to go to any of the special events, like to the bowling Special Olympics. Like I feel left out, like they don't ask me to join or if I want to be able to go. I don't know if all the kids are allowed to go, and that's the reason why I'm always the one asked to stay behind, or I don't know what is really there, because I've never worked in this special education before, because like I said, I was in physical education. And another thing I always have a problem with is my schedule constantly changes every single day, and I don't know why it constantly changes, why they do that. And the other instructional assistants, their schedule stays the same. And so that was the problem that I was having, and the issues that I was having in the
Okay,
classroom.
so your three concerns are you feel left out of the events, Special Olympic events. You feel like you're the new kid on the block,
Yes.
so you feel left out. And you also feel like your schedule continually changes. It's never consistent.
Yes.
So when you show up for work, you don't know
Yes,
what.
I don't know what
You
I'm
don't know
supposed
what
to
you're
do.
doing.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that was it. Those were my two concerns.
Are you done with
I am.
this?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to talk on your side?
I do.
Ms. Bonnie, well,
Yes.
here's your talking.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the opportunity, and I do feel for Miss Banda and her concerns. She came into our classroom, and I don't believe that everyone's job descriptions were explained to her, or the roles. I am a special education instructional assistant one-on-one, so my schedule doesn't change. I am wherever my student is. He's a third grader, and so wherever he goes or whatever he has to do, then I have to be with him. He goes to the nurse in the morning to be checked out. We do his vitals first thing in the morning. Then there's a certain time that I take him up, and he is fed through a G-tube, and so I have to take him up. We hook up his water, and then I go back, we unhook it, and then I have his changing
Let me
schedules.
stop right there. Can you elaborate basically on just what the definition of a one-on-one instructional assistant is?
Yeah, a
Just in case
one-on-one
I don't
means-
know, Miss Bandit doesn't know.
Yes, a one-on-one is a special education instructional assistant that cares only for the one student. His paperwork with our school district stated that he is medically compromised, he's in a wheelchair, he's nonverbal, he doesn't speak, and he's a third grader that has to be, all the diaper changes have to be done. He has to be taken in for his feedings at the nurse, and I'm the one that goes with him and takes him there and makes sure that all of his care is done. There's
So
days
basically what you're telling me is wherever the student goes, you go.
I have to
And
go.
wherever his needs need to be met, you make sure his needs are met.
Yes, ma'am.
That's your job.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's days that he has doctor's appointments. So when the mom lets us know that, oh, I forgot to tell you he has an appointment, you have to have him ready by a certain time, then everything does, my schedule will change in that regard. But, and that's just preparing the student to be ready to go when the mom gets here. And I also feel that I do help out, even though I am a one-on-one. I do help out with the other children when I can. And I understand Ms. Banda's frustration. However, I don't think that our supervisor necessarily explained the roles like what I was doing to her. So, I mean, what I was doing when she came into our room, why I only deal with this one particular student. And then especially as far as the special events, wherever my student goes, I go. He's 10 years old, and so anybody that's 8 years old and above is allowed to participate in all the Special Olympics events. And usually Ms. Banda has to stay back to care for the students that aren't 8 yet. Our students come into our classroom from kinder through 5th grade, and she has typically stayed back to stay with the kids that are not 8 years old yet. I just really feel like the supervisor should have, or our teacher, in-class teacher, should have explained our roles a little more. And I apologize, and I feel bad that she's feeling this frustrated and overwhelmed.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the docking stick and put it over here. And so I'm going to ask Miss Bonnie to leave the room. And I'm going to have a one-on-one caucus with Miss Heather. That's okay.
Sure.
You can
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you very much. What I'm understanding from you is that, well, no, I'm good. Is from you is that the roles of your job are not explained clearly, and that it's not Miss Bonnie's job to explain it to you. It should have been your teachers and or your supervisor, which would be your special ed coordinator. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like if these roles were more explained to you, that you would have a better grasp of your job duties and roles and responsibilities in the classroom?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So that would help you feel a little more
Yes.
comfortable to sit down and go, this is what you're supposed to do, this is how you're supposed to do it. And either you could take it or find another position.
Yes.
Is that how you feel about it?
Yes.
And you're okay with that?
Yes, after hearing Bonnie explain everything to me, now I get a better understanding of what
Okay.
is to be done.
So, because you have dealt with children from kindergarten to grade 5, you have an issue staying back with the students that are not 8 years old.
No, not anymore, not after she explained to me the reason why.
Okay.
See, I never got an explanation of why the
That's
same
it.
people got to go.
Yes.
And why I have to stay.
Right. And she was assigned a one-on-one, which, as you heard it before,
Yes.
says wherever that kid goes, she has to go to make sure his academic and behavior and physical needs, medical needs are all met.
Yes.
That's her specific job. And she really doesn't have to, but she does, which I've dealt with before. It's had one-on-ones, and they come to help out with the other kids if needed. But she really doesn't have to. Her basic role is that one kid. And now that you're a PE assistant, your role is just not the PE format. Your role is to make sure that the students' behaviors and their academic needs are met. Is that understood to you?
Yes, now I understand. I
Okay.
get a better understanding.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel a little bit better now that I understand and know I don't feel so much frustration inside and so much stress having everything put on me now with a better understanding of what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. So maybe when we get back to work, you can talk to your spec ed
Yes.
coordinator and your teacher, and we can maybe make a mediation process there to discuss with them your specific roles, like what exactly, specifically, what particular things they want you to do with each of the students.
Yes.
Instead of just going, what are their roles?
Mm-hmm.
Would that help you better?
Yes,
So
that
we
would
can-
very help me better.
Okay, so we can, when we get back to work on Monday, we can decide on a time and date this mediation process
Yes.
to work with your teacher, spec ed coordination. Would that make you feel
Yes, that would make
more at
me,
ease?
yes, it
Okay,
would.
great. Okay, great. You want to step out
Okay.
and ask Miss Bonnie to walk in and I'll and see how she feels about the process. Hi. So after talking to Miss Banda, she felt like nothing was explained to her, that she didn't understand her roles and or responsibilities. But now that you've explained it to her a little bit more, she's a little bit more at ease. And she feels like when we get back on campus, maybe tomorrow or Monday, that she wants to speak with, have a mediation process with the spec ed coordinator and or the teacher to understand her roles more specifically. And that with you explaining the roles of what your job duties is, she doesn't feel so isolated and so left out of the track and field and bowling and Special Olympic events. How do you feel about this process?
Yeah, I feel it's wonderful. I feel bad that it had to come to this point with Heather and I having to meet with a mediator, but the results will certainly certainly will help both of our job performances. I could tell that she was frustrated and she was showing her frustration, and she had every right to when she didn't understand what my role was. So the suggestion of going to her supervisor and to the special ed coordinator, those are exceptional ideas. And actually, they should be the ones that should have stepped in, but I'm so glad that her and I took it upon ourselves to come to this mediation and to clear the air between the two of us so that we have a better working relationship, because She's a real go-getter and she does work hard.
She does. Great. So can you ask Miss Heather to step back in? And we'll talk about any other concerns or questions that y'all may have in the classrooms. Okay, so how do each of y'all feel about this part of the mediation? About this concern that thing I had about the classroom? Do y'all feel more secure about it? Since y'all have a better understanding of each other's jobs. I know that you feel better about it, and that you can explain to Ms. Banda about what your job duties were, and that when we get back to the campus, that you're willing to talk to the second teacher and the coordinator, and you get more specific roles about what your job is.
Yes.
Now, I do have a list here. I do have an agenda that we kind of need to go through and make sure that everything's being covered in the classroom. As you can tell, it's been a flu season because I had the flu. So I know each y'all's campuses, y'all have the green disinfectant spray, right?
Yes,
So are we all using that?
we
And
are.
making sure we're spraying the tables down?
Yes.
You know you can spray the chairs down, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
just let it
And
dry.
the toys
And the toys. And make sure like the change table. So all that's being done. And we're wearing the gloves and washing our hands correctly.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So another thing we can talk about is next week is track and field. So just be expected to go with your student and to meet his academic track and field needs, whatever that means. And that you are willing to stay behind with the kids who are younger than 8 to make sure that they are meeting their IEP goals with their behaviors, make sure they get fed lunch, and make sure they have a regular academic day. Are we good to go on that?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, as we said before, we want to make sure that our ALE business is kept between us. I know every campus is different, but as human resources, as I said before, is that we are trying to keep all of our classrooms pretty much the same. So if you happen to be a one-on-one and you happen to be a regular special ed instructional assistant, the other classrooms will basically look the same. So when the kids walk into the classroom, there's not a big transition error. Nothing really looks different, okay? And we're not going to talk about this with the office staff or anything. And that on February 15th, well, coming up was the rodeo. Did everybody have a good time at the rodeo?
We did.
Did we have any concerns or issues? I know one of my students ran off, so we had to get the spec ed coordinator to go run after him. But there weren't any issues with it. But last year we had the policeman had to go get him. So did anybody have any issues at the rodeo?
No.
No, everything went well. That's good to know. Keep checking. I know y'all teachers use the Google Calendar for to keep y'all updated on audits and IEPs on anything that's going on in the classroom. So we want to make sure and keep that updated and keep looking at that. I know I have a bad habit of not looking at it because I get so into what my students are doing. So now we're coming into March. Next month is March. So remember that start off is March 18th and March 29th. And there'll be a preview window of one. And your teachers should be preparing the test for that. So just make sure that those tests are confidential and that anybody that walks in the room, they are not allowed to see the test. So like last year, Miss Taylor, the teacher I work with, has me put on guard. So she'll be sitting at her desk working and everybody walks in without permission. I have to cover up her stuff and make sure no one sees it. So we all understand about the start off. Yes. Okay, because that's a legal thing. We can't mess that up. And then telepass laws. It's March 11th through the April 15th. And you just got to test, I don't know how many students, because every campus is different. So you got to make sure you know what students are being tested for that, because your teachers will be pulling those students out to have those tests telepass. Also, we're starting in our classroom, I don't know about y'all, a communication core board, which is basically just like a piece of paper, but it has communication on it. Like we did January for like winter words, maybe mittens or gloves or whatever.
Yes.
So she'll coordinate that with her lesson plan. So if the kids can't talk or they don't feel like they can just point to the word. Yeah. So you may want to talk to your teachers about that. It's a new thing that came up. And we're both beginning from human resources and more technology to help the kids communicate for talking devices or learning devices, helps them understand the lesson plans better because every student's IEP is different.
Mhm.
So then make sure that they understand the lesson plans. And that's about it. We have our team talk. And we have, I need each of y'all to sign that. And then as Ms. Bandit is signing that, do we have any questions or concerns?
So, do we have a follow-up meeting?
Yes, we can have a follow-up meeting in about, what do y'all say, a month, 2 weeks. And what y'all can do for the follow-up meeting is you can go on the Google Drive and have any concerns or issues you're having in class, or anything you might be trying new in the classroom, you can share on the Google Drive or the Google Docs, forget what it's called, and that way all of us have access to it. And then, like, I don't go on there a lot, but you can email us or text us. I know all of us have our phone numbers, and say, hey, you may want to go look at the Google Drive. I have something new that works for our students that may not work, that may work for yours. I know some of my students are non-verbal. Somewhere in really, when there's a non-verbal kid, so that may work in y'all's classrooms. But sometimes what works one day doesn't work another day.
Exactly.
So we can keep in communication that way to see how things are going in the classrooms, or just to keep a communication because I know you work at Ellison and you work at, I forgot.
She works,
Carney.
but now she works.
But
with
now I
you.
work at
Oh, that's
Ellison.
right, now you work
Yes,
at
I used to
Ellison.
be the physical education instructor
That's
assistant
right.
at Carnegie, but
That's
now
right.
I
That's right.
yes.
So I can give some tips from y'all because I'm over at Murray.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's awesome.
So the follow-up mediation will just make sure that Ms. Bonda is no longer feeling overwhelmed, and just check in with her to see that things have progressed.
Right, and you also need to make sure that if you start feeling overwhelmed or have issues or concerns, that you talk with your teacher.
Yes.
But do not do it in front of your students, may I ask, because they can feel, they can feel when we're becoming stressed, and then they get stressed, and then they get really concerned. I have a very sensitive student in my classroom where when I was sick last week, he had a really rough week because I wasn't there, just for that factor alone. So if you have any concerns with your teachers, be sure to say, hey, can I pull you aside? I have an issue, I need to discuss it with you. And their part of their job is listening to your concerns and listening to your issues and making sure that you're happy, or as happy as you can get working in an ALE, spec ed 101 classroom. Any other concerns?
No.
No, that was it.
Good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate your
That's
time.
a good list. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
showing
And
up.
thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
How much time do we have? It's good enough though, right?
It's 23 minutes.
How does he figure 45 minutes?